The theme of this first panel is Trans-disciplinary Foundations of the Market. So in a sense, it's a continuation of some of the themes we were discussing in the previous session. We're going to explore the relationship between economic theories and models and the political, legal, social, technological, and commercial factors influencing the functioning of markets, to identify the scope for designing and regulating markets in a manner that promotes full employment and more equitable income distribution within the context of a market economy. And I'm just going to make a few introductory remarks. And the first was just to reiterate or expand on a point I made earlier, and that is that when we look at the economy functions within a wider social context and is influenced by so many other factors that are considered externalities, but are really inseparable. You know, I think of it this way, that if you talk to a doctor, he'll talk to you about the circulatory system, the metabolic system, the digestive system, the lymphatic system, the nervous system, and everything. But if you go into the human body, that you find out that's a complete abstraction. There is no circulatory system independent of the respiratory system or the metabolic system there. These are conceptualizations, but they're all really integrated aspects of one organism. Sometimes in our abstraction, we really tend to deal with them or think of them as if they're independent or autonomous of one another. So economy is an integral part of the social organism. Another way of looking at these boundaries is to think that they are shifting. And one of the founders of our new economy group and the editor-in-chief of Cadmus Journal, Orio Giarini, has been writing for the last 30, 40 years about the shifting boundaries of economy. One of them that has come up very well in the discussions this morning, the minister brought it up and others also, is globalization, because so much of our economic conception was started at the time when the nation state was the unit of economy, and now we have to reconceptualize it at the global level. A second, of course, is looking, which he made a number of the speakers, maybe majority of the speakers focused on, is the fact that markets and political system are inextricably interrelated to each other, and that relates to the issue of power as well. A third, but is obviously that the relationship that our previous question came up was the relationship between economy and ecology. And we now know, at least in future, that we can't talk economic theory as if ecology is an externality. Another one which we often, in economic discussions, tend to leave aside is the non-monetarized sector. If we're talking about the goal of economy is economic growth as measured in monetary terms, it's one thing. But the moment we talk about economy's purpose as maximizing human welfare, then we have to look at all of the activities in the society that contribute to human welfare. And then it becomes obvious that the boundaries between the monetarized and non-monetarized sector are constantly moving in both directions. And we have to look at the impact of that movement and not just look at one part of it. An obvious example would be when the participation of women in the workforce increases and we show higher employment in the economy. A mother who was taking care of the family and the home goes to work and hires somebody to come and clean the house and somebody else to take care of the children. Well, we get a double boost to GDP, to monetary GDP. Whether we actually get an enhancement of human welfare For the mother or for the family or for the society is another question. So this is an important boundary to consider. And another one which Orio Giarini focused on quite a bit is raising a question as we evolve more and more from an industrial to a service or a knowledge-based service society, the very conception of value and how we measure value and the time frame for the measurement of value changes. His point is that in industrial goods you have a particular moment when goods are sold. That's no longer quite as true as it used to be. But when it comes to the delivery of services, you have a very long period from the creation of the infrastructure and the delivery of those services. Your costs may be mainly involved with building the hospital or building the educational system, and the benefits are delivered out over a much longer period of time. And of course, even in manufacturing today, R&D may be preceding by a decade or more the actual commercialization of a product, and liability for the consequences of it may go on for a decade or more in advance. So he raises the question that the very notion of value is now linked to utilization time, which was not a primary conception when industrial economics was developing. So these are just a few examples. And then the obvious one, that economy is not operating in a static field. It is, the whole society is evolving, and what are the implications of that to thinking about evolutionary or economic theory?